Okay, so just a little bit on solving equations. Now, these two examples are very similar in the way that there's two solutions that are the same number, but one's a positive and one's a negative. So when we solve example 1, to solve that, we actually need to shift this squared over to this side. But like every other equation, we do the opposite. So the opposite of squared is the square root. Okay, so we've got x equals the square root of 36. Now, most of you would know that as positive 6. So 6 times 6 is 36, but you need to remember that negative 6 times negative 6 is also 36. So our solution is actually plus or minus 6. Okay, it can also be written as x equals 6 or x equals negative 6. Example 2, very similar, okay? It's just that the 49 is now over the other side of the equal sign, and this now becomes a difference of squares. So when we factorise it, we have x in both brackets. Now remember, a difference of squares has one plus and one take, and we do the square root of 49 to find our answers. So it's going to be 7, which means our solutions are x equals negative 7 or x equals positive 7. Okay, so our third example is one where we see it in standard form. Okay, so when we solve this equation, we need to figure out what x can be to make this equation true. So we factorise it as per normal. We find out what it multiplies to. So it needs to multiply to 30, and it needs to add to negative 13. Factors of 30, 1 and 30, 2 and 15. Okay, so 2 and 15 could be an option here because they make 13. However, we need it to be a positive 30. So we should already know that our brackets are going to be either both take or both plus, because we have to have a positive answer at the end. Now, looking at this middle term, obviously it's going to be both negatives, because we need that middle term to be negative. So we need both as negatives. So the factors that actually make negative 13 are 3 and 10. Okay, equal to 0. So therefore, our solutions to make this equation equal to 0, x could be 3 to make this bracket 0, or x could be 10 to make this bracket 0. Okay, so again, we have two solutions. Our last example is one like this. Okay, so we have the option of this first x being 0 to make it equal to 0, or we could have the bracket equal to 0. So to make the bracket equal to 0, x has to be 4. One very similar to that would be where we have to factorise it first, so something like this. Okay, and we say, all right, what's common to x squared plus 3x? The x is common, so we take the x out the front, and we're left with x add 3 equal to 0. Therefore, the solutions can be x is 0 or x equals negative